Art is too important not to share. Welcome to the Allie and Callie Artcast.
Hi, I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie. Welcome to the Artcast.
Yes, and we're still in Boise.
Yes.
And it's another beautiful day. It was a little iffy there for a while, but now
we had a little rosé and we feel better all day.
Oh, yeah, you know what? Rosé all day.
I'm just saying. It's beautiful here.
It is beautiful.
I love the fact that you can feel the sun. It's so different here down
and
south.
Smell the flowers.
I feel like
that
we
are
should
blooming.
have an accent down here.
Do you?
Yeah.
Well, honey, we can arrange that.
Okay, let's talk like we're from the south.
All right.
Down in Boise.
That sounds like a plan.
I don't know what happened. Anyway, we're having such a good time.
That's way different than Shakespeare.
It is way different.
Have you ever done Shakespeare?
I have, and I will say it was many, 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 many years ago. You know, I got my BFA in musical theater, and we had to do some Shakespeare. Not had to. It wasn't my...
You. They held your elbow and
I
said...
did Shakespeare. I was in Midsummer's Night's Dream, and I played Hermia. And that was in high school, though.
Oh.
And we did it in the courtyard, in the quad, as they called it, the quad. And a bunch of high school kids are like, nerds.
No.
They're like, why are you doing this? And I was like, I'm acting. It's so amazing. You know, I loved every minute of it. And I was like, this is such a perfect part for me. It was fun.
Yeah.
But I never did it again.
You didn't?
So I don't know if I was embarrassed. It's just, I think it was something that I felt like at the time I didn't understand all the language, and I love watching it. I love seeing it. I love the Royal Shakespeare Company. I love Ashland. I love all these places that do it, and I've seen some great Shakespeare. So I'm glad we're here, and I hope we get to come back to Boise. Boise.
Yeah.
And see some Idaho Shakespeare.
That would be really fun.
Have you done any Shakespeare?
No, but I do have a line.
You do?
You want to hear it?
Is it Shakespearean?
It is.
Oh, let's hear it.
Romeo, oh Romeo, wherefore art thou Romeo? Deny thy father, and refuse thy name, or if thou wilt not, be but sworn my love.
Oh, that's very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
Now, I think they've already cast the shows, but they'll get back to you.
That's all I know.
Maybe next year.
And I'm not, I think I'm getting a little too old to learn lines. So. Juliet
but
days are over. True story, my father wooed my mother by reading her Shakespeare and Chaucer.
Oh, that's sweet.
She says that's why she married him. Oh. And then 17 years later divorced him.
It went downhill from there.
Yeah, apparently it did.
Oh, well.
Anyway, we talk about Shakespeare because we are at the Shakespeare Festival in Boise.
It's amazing. Idaho Shakespeare Festival.
Right.
Here with Sarah Brunner. The first time, you were here last year, but this is your not original, what's the word I want?
Full year of producing artistic director.
Yes, and we also have Hannah Read Newbill, who is the festival director of marketing. So welcome.
And thanks for visiting with us.
Thanks for being here.
Yeah, we're so glad to be here, and we're so excited that this is kind of I want to say, isn't it an all ladies? I love this, like, women power here.
I'm very
excited about this, but tell us a little.
Speaking of which,
yes,
there's a Hermia quote. When you said you played Hermia, there's a very little...
Hey, the way the pigs came. That's all I remember.
But one of my favorite quotes from Midsummer is a quote about Hermia that I think suits you quite well, which is, though she be but little, she is fierce.
Yes! It is so true! I know! I said that part was made for me. When it was like when they auditioned, I was like, oh, this is me. I got this in a bag, Everybody was like, I'm going to be Helena. I'm like, no, Hermia's mine. It's all mine. Anyway, yeah, I love that show. It's a great one.
It is.
Well, I would love to hear a little history about this theater. How long have you been here? And
well, this site that we're sitting at right now, we built this amphitheater. It was completed in 1998.
Okay.
The festival formally has existed since 1977. So we're coming up on our 50-year anniversary.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, so we've been really firmly planted in this community for almost 50 years now,
That's
which is
cool.
really, really amazing. And we've really
Yeah.
just kind of grown up alongside this community and been amazingly embraced by Boiseans. I always say that to be a Boisean is to be a fan of the Shakespeare Festival.
Oh,
Oh,
yeah.
absolutely.
Everybody comes out to see Shakespeare here 6 nights a week, all summer long.
I love
Wow,
that.
that's awesome.
Yeah, 95 performances. So,
Wow.
That's so good.
yeah.
Are they local performers, or do you do auditions around, or
It's a mixture. It started out as local performers. It started with a group of BSU students
Oh, yeah.
who
Right.
wanted to start. I just recently heard this story, and I hadn't heard it. I've worked for the festival. I started as an actor here in 1996, 95 or 96. Actually, Hannah was my dresser. So Hannah and I go way back here
love it.
together. But I just recently heard this story from someone who has worked with the company for years, that it actually started as a group of BSU students who wanted to do musicals. And they were like, let's start doing professional musicals. And they were like, let's do Hair. We want to do a production of Hair. And then they found out that it costs money
A lot
to
of money.
produce musicals. And they
can
were
we
like,
do?
let's do Shakespeare because it's free. And thus the Shakespeare Festival was born. And it just grew and grew from there.
Yeah.
So originally it was all local performers, but then as the festival grew, it became more and more professional.
Right.
We became an equity house, which means we have union actors that
I
work
love
with
it.
us. And now it's a mixture. We have some local casting, but I just got back from doing a casting trip, so I spent 2 days in LA. I was in Lake Tahoe before that. I have to do a casting trip to New York every year. So we cast from all over the country. I get
so great.
submissions every day from actors all over the place. And we have actors who worked with us last summer who are on Broadway as we speak. We have one that's on, American Idol right now. So we have folks who work all over the place.
Yeah.
What are the shows that you're doing this summer?
We have, I'm not going to say them in order. Do
I
you want
can
to say
tell
them in
you.
order?
Yes, I do. 12th
Do it,
night
do
will
it.
open the
You do
season.
it, Hannah.
12th night will open the season.
She knows.
Then we'll have Noises Off.
I love that show.
And then Sunday in the Park with George.
that show.
And then Dial M for Murder. And then Peter and the Starcatcher.
That is such a good lineup.
That's such a good lineup.
You got a little of little of everything. So every night, is it the same show, or do you do rotate? Is this like rep, or is it a different show every night, or do you just do 12th night for 3 weeks?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, we do them one show at a time.
Okay,
we don't
great.
rep them every night.
Okay, gotcha. 'Cause
And did I hear that you do like a partnership with a couple of other places so that you
Yes.
can rotate shows?
Yeah,
was gonna
we
pump
have.
Sarah.
How does that work?
We have a one-of-a-kind business model that was actually created by my predecessor, Charles Fee. And there's no other model like this in the American theater. We call it the consortium. We have a theater here in Boise, Idaho. We have one in downtown Cleveland. And we have one in Lake Tahoe. And we co-produce our shows and move them throughout the country.
so great.
Peter and the Starcatcher, 12th Night, and Noises Off are all shows that we built and produced already in Cleveland in the spring this year.
Oh.
Those 3 shows will transfer to Boise. They'll bring the full artistic team, directors, design team,
Awesome.
crew that work backstage, folks who built the set will all move to Boise this summer and remount the show.
That's great.
Then we will add Noises Off and Dial M for Murder to the season here, build them here completely. Those 2 shows will then move to Cleveland for the fall. And 2 of those shows that we've brought from Cleveland in Boise in the summer will pop over to Tahoe. So we're sharing shows across the country, which means that we're sharing materials. We're
It's
giving
so great.
actors longer contracts,
Yeah.
production folks longer contracts, and it just saves on, as you know,
You can
I mean,
use
you all know
everything.
that theater can be a little bit of a throwaway job, right? You make things, you build, you spend all of the
then
sweat equity,
it's gone.
materials, and then you toss it at the end of a pretty short
Yeah.
run. This way we're giving things a longer life, and also artists are making more of a living off
Yeah.
of the product that we're
A good
creating.
That
contract.
is brilliant.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Well, and the shows are great. I mean,
so when you bring the show in, are you bringing the actors as well?
Yep, we're
Yeah.
bringing the actors, we're bringing the wardrobe crew.
so it's like a whole
But
trunk
the
show. The whole
local,
thing.
the local actors would then would you have local actors in those particular
We try to
shows?
cast a mixture, right? So we're casting locally, ideally, in each market. Some folks are from New York, LA, so
Yeah.
we're housing.
Yeah.
So we always have to we're housing actors no matter
Right.
what. It's part of our business model is
Right.
that we're housing equity actors. So we're always trying to strike the happy balance with casting locally so that we're staying rooted in our local communities.
Right.
But maintaining a balance between the three companies so that we're also sharing the burden of local versus non-local, but staying community-driven in each of the three places as well, so
Yeah.
that we belong to each of our communities.
Right. Oh, God, I
Yeah.
just think that is incredible.
Yeah, and I grew up in this system as an artist, and it was a really meaningful way for me to grow up because as an actor, when you're a union actor, you have to work a certain number of weeks in order to earn your health insurance. So we were in the tiny percentile of actors who were regularly getting health insurance consistently because we were guaranteed enough weeks when we were working for these companies.
Yeah.
It was a given, and most actors weren't. So,
Wow.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
So if somebody comes to which I've never been, so I've seen the amphitheater, and do you sit on the cement? Do you bring in chairs? What is it like as an audience member?
Oh, it's so awesome. That's the first thing I like to talk about is even if you don't like what's on stage, which you will, because it's going to be amazing, you're going to love the experience because you're outside in this beautiful nature preserve.
It's beautiful, yeah.
We're, I think, the last place that allows you to bring anything you want to eat or drink.
Oh, nice.
And
Love
then
that.
the theater right now isn't set up, but there's a variety of seating. So inside the theater, there's several different options. Up close to the stage, we have these cool chairs that are really comfortable, just a little bit shorter than normal chairs. Then we have our box seats that are kind of spread throughout the theater, where you get a table and chairs. And then we have a regular height chair section. And at the very back, really great for families, is the hillside section, which is general admission. And then beyond the inside of the theater, there's all the area around it to enjoy. There's a whole park.
Yeah.
If you guys haven't walked back in there, there's these really cool picnic areas with like stone tables and stones to sit on around them. We're sitting right here next to the Meadow stage, which behind is the Boise River, and there's a mini concert before most shows out here.
Oh, how
nice.
cool
Different.
is
And you can just
that?
come and enjoy that and go to Shakespeare's Marketplace by Lisa Peterson, which is amazing, and not see the show. This is entirely free. You have a little free
that's
ride and a
wonderful.
concert.
Oh,
and
I
enjoy your time
love
that way.
that.
That's great.
Yeah,
Oh, we're
it's really
definitely
unique.
coming
I've never
back.
been in such a cool theater.
Yeah. And what are your average price for tickets? Just
Yeah.
curious.
We like to say we really have something for every pocketbook. We
Okay,
have
good.
everything from student and 25 and under tickets, which are, I can't remember the exact price right now.
That's
really
okay.
great. We have 2 educator nights where we give educators more than 50% off for them and a
Oh,
guest
sweet.
to come and sit together in reserved sections.
Nice.
And then if you get into the subscription model, it's the same thing. There's like weeknight, there's, and then the hillside is the cheapest spot to sit.
Right.
Right.
And then on family nights, we have a youth ticket price,
Oh,
or
nice.
kids under 6 are free as lap kids.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
And what's your website if they want to get tickets?
IdahoShakespeare.org.
That's so easy.
So easy.
So easy.
Exactly.
Get your tickets.
Get your tickets. They're all on
And
sale
how's
right
it
now.
how's it selling? Do you guys sell out? I bet you sell out all the time.
We rarely completely sell out. We actually have to fight that myth. I'm going to jump on that one.
Oh, okay, good.
We get very full, and people are very attached to particular types of seating. But
Oh,
if you're
I see.
flexible, you can come any night, and if you show up in person, we'll probably get you in.
Oh, okay,
Oh,
good.
cool.
But people do start buying their tickets in November, so
Oh,
they
wow.
get excited.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
That was
yeah.
my
And you can only do 3 to 5 shows for season tickets.
For all your screen printing needs, trust the local you can count on. Pyramid Printing has been a Coeur d'Alene favorite for over 2 decades.
Specializing in screen printing, embroidery, signs, banners, and stickers. For all jobs, big and small, just give Eric a call.
Email us at info@pyramidprintingcda.com or give us a call at 208-664-0254.
PyramidPrintingCDA.com.
The general business model for the theaters is this. They have maintained, one of the most important aspects is that each of them has maintained their identity. And what that means is that Great Lakes Theater in Cleveland, Idaho Shakespeare here, and Lake Tahoe Shakespeare Festival in Tahoe are all 3 separate 501c3s.
Okay.
They all have a dedicated staff. They all have a dedicated board and are all separate companies from a financial perspective.
Okay.
They all keep their own budgets. They all keep their own books.
Okay.
But what they share are production costs, and they share some employees. So what we do when we budget is that we look at those sharing models, and we have a system where we pay one another back according to time, according to material use, according to who is where when, and appropriately allocate that human capital, those materials, etc., based off of what the realities are from year to year. So it's a really complex and nuanced system that we have going on behind the scenes, because there's no general, we couldn't just blanket it and say this is what it is every year. It's dependent on the show. If it's a musical, it looks a lot different than if it's a straight play. If it's me that they're sharing, it's a lot different than if it's a production person. So, but each company maintains its own books, because production isn't the only aspect that exists, right? So they're all completely separate companies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'd be interested to know the guy that you mentioned that came up with this idea.
Yeah,
What was his
Charlie-
name again?
Charlie Fee.
Charlie. Okay.
Yeah.
So how did he choose the three entities that
They came to Charlie. Charlie was running this company, and they came to him, and I think essentially headhunted him and said, "Are you interested in running this other company?" And to make a long story short, he said, "No, but I have a really creative idea, because I don't want to leave this job behind.
Right.
So what do you think about this?" Charlie is a very innovative, clever, and bold human being. And so in his boldness and thinking outside of the box, he created this model, and really a true blend of an artistic and a business person, right? And just started creating this model. And then once he created it between two theaters, he saw the potential of adding a third, and the synergies that existed there.
Right.
And it proved to be really a godsend, particularly when COVID came along,
Oh my gosh,
because other companies couldn't withstand the burdens that came along with that, whereas our model ended up being something that was really our superpower during that time.
Absolutely.
Has anybody ever approached you about getting more information about that model so that they could recreate it?
People are asking us about it a lot right now, because arts are not a thriving, it's tough. We're just trying to, and maybe this is something that, maybe it's something you'll start hearing more about in your conversations. Maybe these are conversations you have a lot on this podcast, but we're a business that's trying to break even, right? We're a break-even business. We're not like, rake in that dough. So, we're here in service of a community. That doesn't mean that we're like Scrooge McDuck looking at all the piles of coins in our safe all the time.
Yeah.
I think it's something that people will become increasingly interested in, because it's an essential, potential way of survival at a time when arts funding is looking at major cuts. Those who have been able to be very generous may be looking at a little bit more volatility and may not be able to be as generous.
Right.
There are a lot of substitutes for the kind of work we do now that are more available and less expensive than what we have to provide. So
I just think it's great to have the opportunity to so many times that I'll be involved in a show and you're done. And it's over.
Yeah.
You're like, the fact that you get a longer contract alone is going to be
Isn't that something?
so valuable. And when you're trying to make a living performing, which is very difficult and not many people can do it, to me, it makes so much sense. There are successful theaters that do put on great productions that could travel. I know the Village Theater does it. They take a show that they've already mounted, they've got the cast, and they just move it up north just a little bit, and they make a little bit more money, but that means that contract, they get their health insurance a little bit longer, and I just think that's so smart. It should happen more theaters. Hey, everybody, think about it.
And
think about it.
You know this, I'm sure you both know this from doing theater, like you rip sets apart at the end of it, because you can't afford to store them half the time.
Exactly.
And these are perfectly good materials, and you think like, what do we do with this? Does anybody want this or need this? And just to be able to extend the life of these materials that cost you a fortune, and put in like massive labor and high-end expertise. I mean, it takes there's a lot of brilliant people involved in the theater. And so I think sometimes that goes a bit unnoticed, but there's a lot of really smart, high-performing folks who decide they're going to go into the arts. And so it's been really meaningful for us, and we have such a brilliant collection of individuals who have decided to spend their time with us at these companies. It's great to be able to employ them more meaningfully.
How many people do you think you employ a season? Just curious.
I think it's between 150 to 200.
Oh, wow. Great.
Yeah.
That's really
just
great.
Here.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's including the
And then-
actors.
How do you do the musicals? Do you have live musicians, or
Yes.
do you? Oh, see, that makes it even better. That's what I say.
absolutely.
Agreed.
And not everyone can. I get
can't,
that.
I
And,
know. Yeah.
You know, it's not. It's very expensive to put plays on, and I think a lot of people don't realize that either. A lot of people don't have the ability, and why would they? I don't have the ability to view everything with the level of expertise, you know, unless someone explains it to me.
Right.
But theater, I find that time and time again. Even if with my family, they've seen hundreds of plays, and they don't know how to break it down and appreciate the degrees of expertise that it takes to understand. You know, there are 400 lighting instruments that could be hung in that theater this summer.
Yeah.
Each one specifically focused based on a plot that a highly trained person has focused for the summer.
Yep.
That every show that they watch will have hundreds of lighting cues written that are called moment by moment for each play that they watch. The same with the sound cues, that there are speakers hidden all throughout the theater, that the speaker system is tuned specifically for the space. Because, I mean, it just goes on and on and on.
I love
And
that.
then, you know, people come and show up and watch a play and go, I didn't like it.
I
You
know.
we worked so hard.
They just didn't appreciate it.
Yeah.
Have you had any instances with the deer come on stage? Oh my gosh.
Right?
You know, I've shared so many animals at that stage. When I acted here, I got upstaged by a skunk
Oh
once.
no.
And I was dead, and I heard the audience giggling, and I thought, well, surely I'm not that bad.
They're like,
And I opened my upstage eye, you know, so that they couldn't see. So I still looked dead from here. But my upstage eye, I looked, and there was a baby skunk waddling across the
Oh
stage.
my God.
I mean, that's part of being outside.
Nature makes regular appearances
you're like,
out here.
humble.
It is one of the things that's really special about this place, though, is the play is a thing. You know, the Shakespeare quote is the play's the thing, but the play is a thing out here.
Yeah.
It's a part of the evening, but it is so special in this amphitheater to start a play in broad daylight with a group of people, which that's not a small thing anymore, right? We spend so much time on our phones with a hyper-individualized, cultivated digital interface. And just the mere fact that we can get people off of their phones in nature, in commune, with mostly strangers, to watch a story unfold in front of them is a miracle of sorts, right? Like there aren't a lot of things like that anymore. That is that to me is one of the largest gifts that we give as theater makers right now. They come and they take a break from their phones for 3 hours, and they just hang out outdoors.
Love it.
And they just sit and breathe and watch a thing together and eat, and that is beautiful in and of itself. And then just the conversation, the shared laughter. The play is a thing that happens out here, but there's so many other beautiful things that take place out here night and night again. And Hannah and I regularly come out here, and after a long day of work, you think like the last thing you want to do is go back to work again. But there's always an amazing energy out here in the evening.
So sweet. Yeah.
It just comes to life every single night.
Oh, that's
I hope you all can make it back this
I love
summer.
it. Well, you have a
what's
great
up?
season. I just want to mention it again. 12th night, one of my favorites. You know, it's Viola Orsino.
Yep, that's right.
Orsino and Sebastian.
You almost said Cesario, which is
Cesario.
because that's who Viola disguises herself as. That's right.
Okay,
yeah.
see, it's going way back. Shakespeare was a long time ago for me, folks. But it's a great comedy. It is. It's just so fun. And if you haven't seen any Shakespeare, this is a great one to dabble yourself into.
Yeah.
You know,
It
it's
is.
just a good one. It's really good. And then Noises Off. Oh my gosh. One of my favorite lines ever is bag, no bag, no bag. Brooke says, I think her name is Brooke. Oh my God.
Yep.
I saw it in Utah when I was living in Utah at Logan, Old Lyric. And It's pee your pants funny. That's such a great show. Are you directing any of these?
I directed Twelfth Night.
Okay.
And I'll be directing Dial M for Murder
And
as well.
Dial In for Murder, which is also a great one, which I thought was Alfred Hitchcock, but that was the movie. It's by Michael... who is it?
Well, Frederick Knott wrote the original, but this is a new adaptation that was done just in, I think, 2022 or 2023 is when the rewrite was done. So it's an updated, it's got tighter language. It focuses around the lead female character, gives her a little bit more agency. It's just, it's a better, tighter version.
Nice.
Yeah.
That one's in
a
August.
lot of folks think it's a Hitchcock story, but he actually adapted it from a play.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Because
Yeah.
that's what my brain went, it's Alfred Hitchcock. And I'm like, no, it's not. And then, of course, Sunday
in the park with George.
Yes.
Hallie was in that.
Who did you play?
I was the old lady, because I'm old.
She's actually called the old lady in the script too.
The old lady.
You
But
could
she has a
have
great
called her
song.
something else.
I know, like Mother. But
She does have a great song.
She has the best song.
Yeah.
And I loved it. That show is amazing. And our friend, you and I have both worked with him.
Yeah, Matt Goodrich.
Matt Goodrich.
Yeah.
Our close friend. And Peter and the Starcatcher, that's just a fun piece of theater. I saw that on Broadway and I went, this is why I do theater.
Yes.
It's so creative.
Yep,
It's an
exactly.
amazing little piece.
It does remind you like that kind of that's one that I call sort of sophisticated kid play. Like it really ignites the imagination and makes you realize how little it takes to do big things on stage, which is one of my favorite things that theater can do is you don't have to spend gobs and gobs of money to do really good storytelling.
Right.
It just takes a little bit and then you all have these vast imaginations that we can tap into to fill in the blanks.
So great. So the season goes May 23rd to September 28th.
Yes.
Correct?
Yep.
And then it goes to Cleveland.
That's right. And two of the shows go to Tahoe during the summer.
Tahoe.
Right.
Yeah.
Where in Tahoe? Just what
Sand Harbor. We're
and-
right on the lake. We're right on the lake in Tahoe.
Sand Harbor State Park.
Sand Harbor State Park. So also, if the podcast ever wants to hop out of Idaho and visit Tahoe,
Yes,
we've got a gorgeous theater there too, where when you're sitting in the audience and the backdrop, you see the stage and the backdrop is literally Lake Tahoe.
God.
Totally
Rises
stunning.
behind.
I've never
Yeah.
been to Lake
So it's
Tahoe,
It's stunning.
that sounds like a good time.
So are all the theaters outside?
No, our Cleveland theater is inside. So
Okay.
between September and May, we produce indoors in Cleveland downtown in the second largest performing arts district in the country. So it's a really gorgeous old, like think Broadway style house that we refurbished. It was done in 2008, a really gorgeous downtown theater.
Nice.
With a gorgeous like old school like, Broadway marquee.
Oh,
it's a
fun.
really, really cool space. Yeah.
Cool.
And Tahoe is outside.
It is outside, right on the lake.
We're going to have
And
to
the
plan our
premier
next
seating section in Tahoe, they have wait staff that will bring
wait
you.
staff. Oh my gosh.
We're definitely going.
It's so
pretty
bougie.
sweet.
we gotta plan our next trip.
All right, so I have to ask this. You are a Shakespeare Theatre Festival, but not all of your shows are Shakespeare.
Yeah.
How do you choose your shows?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because people get mad about it all the time.
What?
And it's and people ask that of every Shakespeare festival around the country who also only do one or maybe two Shakespeares. So historically, there was a gigantic push in the 70s for Shakespeare festivals. They were really, really, really popular.
Yeah.
And that became less popular as time went on. People will not come and see an entire summer full of only Shakespeare. So what we do now is we produce one or two Shakespeares because we can fill an audience of one or two Shakespeares. We have really good data now that tells us how many people are going to come see Shakespeare.
Right.
Maybe two of our shows we can sell and keep the theater's doors open with
It
maybe
makes
two
sense.
Shakespeares going.
Yeah.
So you'll notice us in a cadence of one or two Shakespeares per year. Once you start introducing things like Sunday in the Park with George, American musicals, American classics. Once you start pulling things over like Peter and the Starcatcher, murder mysteries, people are like, ooh, other kinds of theater. We love this. And you start to give your audiences a dose and a taste of something else, they start gaining an appetite for it. So I don't know which came first, the chicken or the egg. Did Americans generally grow out of Shakespeare? They may have. People started getting exposed to different things just culturally overall. People started listening differently. Their appetites changed generally. We also started offering different things. There are a lot of companies that have just completely pivoted away from Shakespeare. We don't have that problem in Boise. Boise still, we do remarkably well with Shakespeare here compared to a lot of other markets. And I'm really happy about that. And we still have a lot of people who are vociferous about how dare you call yourselves a Shakespeare Festival? They aren't looking at the data.
They don't
so,
know.
For us, it's we're lucky that we get as many folks as we do, and we know that we couldn't do more Shakespeare. And there's only a certain number of plays, and guess what? They're not all good.
They're
not all good.
Amen, sister.
Oh my God. Do you want to see King John?
Nope.
No, not so much. I mean, maybe you do. I don't know. Maybe watch now. Next year, I'll be like, we're doing King John, because maybe we could. So there's a few different reasons. Our job ultimately is to provide great theater to the community. The service we provide is great theater, culture, and arts to the community. Bottom line, it's not just to do Shakespeare. I don't feel tied to the name in that way. I feel tied to the fact that we were born as a Shakespeare Festival. It is part of who we are. It's in our DNA, and we'll honor that. But we are in service to the community to provide great entertainment, arts access, education, classics, and that includes Shakespeare to the community.
Speaking of education, do you guys go to the schools?
We do, yeah.
That's what I think I remember hearing this somewhere, that you do. So tell us a little bit more about that.
We have two different programs that tour the state. We have one that is called Idaho Theater for Youth, and we have one that's called Shakespeareance. Shakespeareance is a 45-minute Shakespeare. It's actually 12th night right now. That's on the road. That's great. How many counties are they hitting? Do you know right now?
The goal is always to hit all of them, but I don't know what the total is right now.
So we come close to hitting every county in the state. A lot of that is underwritten. If the school will have us, we will go. So for many students in Idaho, their first exposure to Shakespeare are our professional actors going out and giving them a bite-sized piece of Shakespeare consumable. We try to make it cool. We try to bridge that gap between them and Shakespeare as much as humanly possible. Before that, they see Idaho Theater for Youth. This year, our team, our in-house team, wrote an adaptation of a Sherlock Holmes piece, an adaptation of Hound of the Baskervilles, and sent some actors out on the road with that. And that's for a younger audience. And both of these pieces are meant to introduce them to theater, to art, to storytelling in a new way. I went to high school and junior high in Idaho, and it was my first exposure to the arts in Idaho. So they came to my school, to Burley High School, when I was there, and it was my first exposure to Shakespeare, was the Shakespeareance.
That's great. Wow. Where did you go to college?
I love the name, Shakespeareance.
Shakespeareance, yeah. Cool. I went to Boise State.
Oh, you did?
Yep,
okay.
on a theater scholarship.
That's awesome.
Cool. Accidentally.
Yeah, accidentally on a theater scholarship. Accidentally went to college.
So, Hannah, do you travel as well? Are you going to Cleveland and to Tahoe as part of the team?
I don't have to, but I love to for fun. I am on the team in Tahoe, but I don't have to go there for my job. But I love to go at least once a year. It's just so nice to be there. And see it. I haven't been to Cleveland in a while, but that's my goal this year, to go and see the Christmas Carol that they do in the wintertime, because I've never seen that. So
that's fun.
Yeah.
So your role is marketing.
Yes. Yeah. So for the Tahoe team, I have a very long, weird title. I'm the director of digital and special publications and the media contact. So it's a weird little, we have a really cool marketing team. Part of it is led by someone who's a full-time person in Cleveland. And then there's a person on the ground there, and we all kind of collaborate together.
So you have a team, but you're in different cities and you're still, I love that.
Yeah, a team.
A team.
Oh, what would that be like?
I know.
Greetings, listeners of the Allie and Callie Artcast podcasts. This is Jason from Tubbs Coffee Roasters. Keeping art alive and culture relevant is the heart and soul of our community of creatives. And as a local coffee roaster who loves a good origin story of a painter or a farmer or a musician, We proudly support the Allie and Callie's Artcast podcast's expansion and exploration through positive conversation. So grab a cup of coffee, preferably one from Tubbs Coffee Roasters, and tune in, humans. Your ears will thank you.
Ever feel like work and life are pulling you in opposite directions?
You are not alone. That's why we created Thrive, Learn, Connect, a podcast where personal growth meets professional success.
Each week, we share real conversations, insights, and actionable takeaways to help you navigate life and work with more ease, joy, and purpose.
Whether it's managing stress, building better relationships, or finding balance, we are here to help you thrive.
Listen to Thrive, Learn, Connect wherever you get your podcasts, because growth starts with connection.
So tell me, what time are the shows?
So during most of the season, which is May through August, Tuesday through Saturday, they start at 8 p.m.
Okay.
The mini concert starts at 6:30. So people come out. They make a whole evening of it.
Yeah.
They
Oh, I
come out.
bet.
It's like it's an
awesome.
escape, but in town, it's really cool. Then in September, we're able to move it a little bit earlier because it gets darker earlier.
sooner,
That's what
yeah.
we're always fighting, like wanting to show off those lights and have those effects.
Right.
So in September, they start at 7:30, and then on Sunday at 7.
Nice. And what happens if the weather's bad?
Oh,
have
yeah.
you had
Everyone
any?
says that.
Have you had any of those times where you're
Yes.
like, oh dang, here
Yes.
thunderstorms, right?
The highest number of like cancellations because of weather we've ever had in one season were 6.
Oh, that's
Six,
not
seven,
bad.
and 5. And often the thing that's more troublesome than any rain or precipitation is wind, because then it gets hard to hear.
Yes.
But rain,
yeah.
being in Boise, usually we can just hold,
Yeah.
wait a little bit, and it'll pass on
It'll
by.
go away.
Right.
And
Pass
then we
on
can start
by.
again. And the actors and the audience are so committed. They
don't
want to
care.
stop.
They don't
want to
care.
stay.
They just want to-
Hardly
I
anybody
just
leaves.
worry about
Wait it out.
equipment.
that's
That's
cool.
me. I'm like,
Exactly.
equipment.
Yeah. Sometimes the actors will change their shoes, just get a little safer, take
Yeah,
legs off
sure.
or something, and just continue.
Right.
If it's drizzling, they usually continue.
It takes a lot for
It takes
us
a
to
lot
cancel.
to stop.
That's good. The show must go on, right?
I know.
Right,
And then everybody
exactly.
like feels more bonded by the end.
Oh,
It's so
yeah.
sweet.
Yeah.
Everyone has their story of, I was here to see
Yeah,
McPhee, and
this
then there was
happened.
lightning at right
There
the
was
right
a
moment with the
skunk.
witches.
Yeah,
right.
Yes, I love that. And the peacock came out.
I love that. So, Sarah, tell us a little bit more about your acting experience. Do you have like a favorite role? Any Shakespearean favorite role?
Because
I heard you're fabulous. We already heard that from our hosts.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
we did.
They have
did.
season tickets.
They do.
I do have a favorite role. I didn't play it here, but I did play. I played Mercutio at the Oregon Shakespeare Festival,
fun.
and that was pretty exciting. I didn't think I'd get to play Mercutio. I got to sword fight. It was at Oregon Shakespeare
That's so
Festival.
fun.
That was one of my faves. I have to say.
Yeah.
I grew up acting on that stage.
That's so
a pretty
cool.
special place.
Yeah.
Still, it'll always be
Yeah.
my favorite. I spent a lot of my life, hours and hours of my life on that stage. I feel like I grew up out there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
That's great.
Cool.
That's
So
nice.
once again, they get tickets at
IdahoShakespeare.org. And all the tickets are on sale now.
They're all on
Subscriptions
sale.
will give you the most flexibility, the most benefits. But single tickets are out there too if you only can come to town for one show.
And we
It's
had
all
to
there.
mention, and come see the music before. I mean, this park is
yeah.
amazing. What a great space.
I know.
Right.
This is like
so
Shangri-La.
lucky.
Okay, I did Snoqualmie Falls Theater, of course, near Snoqualmie, right? In Seattle. And we did Pirates of Penzance. And my nightmare of working outside were bees.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
The
would
bees.
be bad.
The bees were bad.
Yeah, insects can really wreck a play.
Yeah. Well, when you're singing and your
No.
mouth is open and bees are flying and you're like, I lost it a couple of times with bees bees too close to me, and it was funny. The audience found it hilarious. Where I was like, oh my god, just don't sting me.
Well, that's
Not in my
'cause you're
mouth.
funny.
no, the bees were frightening,
But I can see you pulling that off. Totally.
maybe it's fun as an actor though to be outside.
The elements, I think, having performed both inside and outside, I love outdoor performance because it adds this final element of reminding the audience and you as a performer that you're all living in the same moment on planet Earth together. And it becomes the great equalizer.
Yeah.
That's why when you're singing and a bee flies into your mouth, everyone locks into the same moment.
like,
and
"Oh,
there's like this this element of humanity that exists, and it's the thing you're always trying to remember. Like, it's the point of live theater, right? Here we all are right now. It's this one way, this one time, here we go. And so often now people become passive in watching things, or they're so used to feeling separated, distanced from, and not connected to what they're watching. But then it starts pouring rain, and you can't help but acknowledge, like, oh my God, here we all are.
Yeah.
So I love performing outside because of that. And it's best when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Because everybody just becomes so human together.
Right.
They're in it with you.
Oh, I love
favorite
that.
things. I grew up working here too, like Sarah, outside, and it never occurred to me until an actor who was coming here for one of the first times talked about how disconcerting it was to be able to see the audience.
Yeah.
To see their faces because it's light, and then that creates even more of a connection.
Oh, completely.
And yeah, I mean, I think it's electrifying for the actors.
Yeah.
Oh, I bet.
And I went the other way because I grew up always being able to watch people watch me.
Right.
And I'd be up there like playing Juliet and seeing someone, drink their wine, dig through their cheese. And then when I went to indoor theater and it was just a black vacuum, I'd be like, who am I? What is this?
Right.
Like, I'm used to this. So I can see, like, is it affecting you? Are you with me? Because then
like
I'm
it?
mixing.
Yeah.
Like, I can see how you're responding. So it's like live mixing. Like if you're the sound person, right? You're like, okay, let me see how, let me do this then.
Yeah.
So I found it so disconcerting to just perform for the void. I couldn't get used to that.
Yeah,
I think I get distracted a little bit when I see the audience. Sometimes.
Well, sometimes they're up to no good.
Yeah, and that's where I'm like,
Especially where they can drink freely.
they're like, oh yeah, that can be troublesome. Yeah, but it's exciting. It sounds like a great season. And what season is this?
49.
49.
Yep.
I bet there's going to be a big 50th.
I bet
Yeah.
you're going to
Yes.
have a big blowout.
There will be. There's a lot to celebrate, both as an organization and as a thank you to our community.
Right.
We exist by the grace of them, right?
Yeah.
Like, we exist because they have seen value in us.
Yeah.
And so there's just so much celebration to be had there. We live in a community in Boise where inherently, I guess, although it's not inherently, folks decided collectively somewhere along the way to say yes to the arts in this community. And I grew up in it, so I didn't notice it until I left and saw that it wasn't that way everywhere. And now that I'm here and I'm a leader, I have such a different and deep appreciation for it. I was just talking with someone about this. I noticed it growing up on this stage because I could feel the love, and I just thought, like, oh, this is what audiences are like. And then I started performing other places, and I was like, oh,
wait a minute.
It's different.
It's
different
not always
in
the
Boise.
same.
Yeah.
But that sort of goes through, that feeling that you get on stage performing here, the warmth, or what I also like to call the innocent until proven guilty. In some places, you're guilty until proven innocent. That goes through all the way to just the general generosity in the community, the philanthropy in the community, the way that the local and the state agencies deal with the arts in the community. It's really remarkable. And we've all been beneficiaries of that.
Yeah,
Right.
it feels supported, and
It is
what you
supported.
guys have done here. I mean, the fact that it's been around this long, and that you're adapting, and I think you're right. You can. There's only so many Shakespearean plays, right?
Right.
To do other shows, and not only can you see Shakespeare, you can get it all here.
Yeah.
So why not? Get away from your TV, get away from your phone, and experience live theater. Because here it is. There's nothing better. No, I always get there. Yeah, there's nothing better. Yeah, it's the best.
And it's also part of being part of a continuum of what's been built by the people who have come before you. Like, everything that's here is built by the community that came before. And to continue to say yes to that and participate in it and be part of moving it forward is really, really meaningful, so that we're leaving this, us, who have now been part of this for a long time, and our job is to participate, build it, and leave it better than we found it.
Right.
Like, there's something really beautiful about that, and meaningful, and beyond self.
The legacy.
Yeah. Kind of
Leave the
reminds me of
legacy.
what my mom used to say when we'd go camping. Always leave it better than you
That's
found it.
exactly what it is. That's where I borrowed it. I grew up in Montana, and that was always our thing.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to make the trip back and actually see the shows. We'll be calling you for discounts. Good.
Oh, you can have some props. Come on. You can come all the way down.
We know somebody.
Yeah,
Oh,
okay.
wait, it's us.
Yay.
Oh, my God.
It's us now. Yeah.
But thanks so much for meeting with us.
Yeah.
It's been super fun.
Yeah, we're just really excited about this place, this theater, and continued success to both of you, to your whole company. And, yay for this theater. Giving people work,
Right.
And continuing it in other places. How fun is that? It's like a dream, and any actor's dream is like, I'm going to keep working.
Right.
And it's not, you can't always do
and
that.
hopefully an organization that is struggling hears your brilliant business plan and comes up with a plan of their own to make it work. That would be, I would love to see that.
Yeah, inspirational,
Right.
definitely.
Well, thanks to you for giving arts a platform and a larger voice and taking interest in making the trek to...
Yeah.
It's a labor of love.
Yes, we love it. We love it so. We want everyone to know more about the arts.
Because it sure doesn't pay well.
But we love it.
But we love it. Well, I want to do one more shout out to our host family who's taking care of us. Eileen and Todd Swanson.
Yes.
Yes, they've been very kind.
Very kind, and they're supporters of the Idaho Shakespeare Festival.
They are. Yep.
So this has been great.
I'm Allie.
And I'm Callie, and whatever you do today, make sure it's creative.
The Allie and Callie Artcast is brought to you by Tubbs Coffee Roasters, ethically sourced, locally roasted coffee, and Pyramid Printing and Embroidery, serving customers near and far for over 2 decades.